The Smith brothers are reunited in Detroit, and the Red Wings' postponed games have been rescheduled.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. I'm your host and master of cold opens, Brian Fisher. With me today, as always, is the other host here and master of clipping my failings and posting them on Twitter, Scotty Bentley. Stop, don't do that.
What's up, everybody?
He's also a host at Locked On Tigers. And we're free and available on all platforms. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Every day. And Scotty.
That's me.
You had quite the day today.
I had a great day.
You were on cloud 9.
Fantastic day. My favorite player in the NHL is now hopefully teaming up with his older brother, and it's going to be awesome. And if they ever share a line, I don't even care if it's for a 30-second shift. I'm crying my eyes out. I'm a man. I'll admit it. It's gonna be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And he's a center, like it's possible. We need some center depth. I don't know. I'm liking it. I'm hoping. I'm wishfully thinking.
The Red Wings claimed Gemel Smith off of waivers from the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the reason he was on waivers to begin with was because he had gotten hurt in training camp, and they were putting him on waivers with hopes of him making it to the AHL to start his rehabilitation stint. Steve Yzerman, loving to poach players from the Tampa Bay Lightning like he does, saw, hey, we have a Smith. Oh, hey, these guys are brothers. Why don't we make it double trouble here in Detroit?
Right before we play the Stars, too.
Right before we play the Stars who drafted him.
I'm just saying. Right before we play the Stars, the Wings and like Larkin and the Stars, the Wings and Stars already got some beef. He was drafted by the Stars. I don't know. I'm liking this situation of him being immediately inserted at 4C.
We are living our best life right now down there in the bottom 6.
You know what, baby? We ball.
We always do.
No, I mean, it'd be fun. Like, it would be objectively fun. Everybody would have a good time with it. There are some situations, you'd have to iron out who would get the boot from the roster, who would get the boot from the starting lines, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? You don't need to cloud your head with negativity. Just focus on the positives and the fact that in this current moment, it's possible.
It is possible, and it would be absolutely amazing. It'd be a great story. I do think the fact that he's Givani's brother did play somewhat of a factor into picking him up, considering he's coming off of injury. I mean, I do think that Yzerman wouldn't have picked him up if he didn't think he had something to bring to the organization, either at
center depth
level.
At the end of the day.
Yes, at the end of the day, it is center depth. But I think it does help that he's Givani Smith's brother, and you hope he can bring a similar style of play. We just talked the other day about what Givani Smith's role on the team is long-term, what he needs to do to stay a long-term piece. And one of the things you brought up, Scotty, was that he needed to have more production. Well, it turns out that the solution to Smith getting more production was just doubling the amount of Smith on the team.
That's clever, Brian. That's a good one.
Thank you.
I seriously, I liked it. I think you sent me that this morning too.
Oh, don't tell people that.
Never mind. This is the first time I'm hearing it, and it hit me. It hit me. It's a fantastic line and very creative. And the fact that you thought about that honestly off the dome, just mid recording, is wildly impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
But no, I mean, like, I don't know, like, it can't hurt his development, right? Like, I'm not saying they're gonna bring him in and
he's 27 at this point. He is what he is, right?
No, I meant more for Givani. But Givani, I mean, it can't hurt Givani's development. It might not help as much as I want it to, but it can't hurt it. Like, it certainly can't stunt any development.
Yeah, and let's be honest here. What Gemel does bring to the table is depth, and that is
For sure.
probably what he's going to be served. He's been a fringe NHL player his entire career. He's only played a handful of games in the NHL, I believe 88 games. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
and
to
like
double.
almost 40 of them were in one season. So really,
Yeah,
outside of that 1 year, it's been a lot of 5 to 8 games played for
yeah,
sure.
88 games with 24 points across his career. The most games he played was in Dallas in 17-18, where he had a career high of 11 points. He spent most of his time in the AHL, where he's been actually a pretty productive player. I believe I read that he had like 200 points in 286 AHL games. He's going to be that fringe-centered forward depth player for the Red Wings that they can call up, maybe challenge that fourth liner, Joe Veleno, who we will talk about in our second segment. But you also hope that playing with his brother could ignite a little bit in him as he tries to get healthy and get back to playing. And maybe he does find himself slotted in there in the fourth line, wanting to play with his brother. I mean, how great of a story is that we have both Smiths? And obviously the Detroit Red Wing fan base, ourselves included, would love to see Smith in a Red Wings the other Smith in a Red Wings uniform so that they can play together. And I think with Tampa, he wore number 46. Givani wears number 48. I mean, it's just like, there's just such a great story there. And while he's been a fringe NHL talent his entire career, this team is just the perfect kind of team to kind of reestablish yourself and reignite your career, as we've seen with several other players. Now, I'm not saying he's going to turn into a Robbie Fabry for us, but, like I said, he could light a fire under those third and fourth line centers whose, position on the roster is a little bit on shaky ground.
Yeah, and while he's not like a 33, 34-year-old veteran or anything, I mean, he's what, 27? Like,
He's still young.
right, he's young, but he's also been around. Like, there's a little bit of experience there, while also not being not being like toward the end of his career either. So it's a I like the pickup because the story is awesome, but if you were to prototype like a player that the Wings would claim off waivers, it would be a fringe NHL level center that's in his late 20s. Like,
Yeah.
that is what that would be at the top of everyone's list as far as like the like I said, kind of the outline or the prototype for who they would be interested and in the mix for claiming. So at the end of the day, the story's great, and I'm gonna have a ton of fun with it.
Oh, it's a great
But
storyline.
but as strictly hockey too, I mean, it's on par and about what we would expect the Wings, a move that we would expect the Wings to make as well.
Yeah, and I just think that what he brings to the table, because he's almost too good to be in the AHL. If you look at his numbers, he's always just shy of a point per game in the last few years prior to the injury this year during training camp. He's always just a little bit too good for the AHL level, but not quite good enough to make it as an everyday in their NHL level. And I just think that is perfect for where this team is at. He's good enough to challenge those guys in the bottom six, but he's also good enough to bring the Grand Rapids Griffins to the next level and help the development for the guys that are down there. So I think just in the end, like, adding another Smith is only going to benefit the Detroit Red Wings, no matter where he is.
It's the Smiths,
It's
of
the
course,
Smiths.
of
It's the
course,
Smiths.
baby. So if I'm gonna have to figure out how to get my hands on his sweater now, because I already got Givani. You know what I mean? And it would be kind of a disappointment to everybody if I didn't get both.
What size do you wear?
I probably in a hockey sweater, probably still just like an XL.
Okay.
It's either an XL or a 2XL for sure.
2XL.
I think in a hockey sweater, I could probably still pull off an XL, because you're swimming in those things.
Mm-hmm.
So I could probably do that.
I might be able to make this happen for you.
All right, beauty. Because I mean, like, that'd be walking up with both Smith sweaters. I mean, that'd be kind of hard.
BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs
What
and
a
beyond.
transition.
BetOnline, hard transition. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and new updated desktop and mobile website. To sign up today and receive 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit, just use our promo code LOCKDOWN to get started. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Do not wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline.
BetOnline.
Where the game starts. Scotty, we were talking about how Gemel Smith, his role could be that he is on the asses of the guys who are third and fourth line center. He is a center
Do we have
himself.
anyone on the team with the last name that starts with an A? Because then we could literally make the ass line.
Oh, you're right. Oh, man, I hope there's not because I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head.
I don't think there is. We'll re-sign Abby out of retirement.
I'm good. I don't need it that bad.
Okay. So we don't. Yeah, I don't think we have an A. We got to put Cider out there with him though, because he leads the league in ass.
That's true. He does lead the league in ass. Was it ass or rookie ass? It was ass.
Ooh, I actually don't remember. The graphic should be easy to find, but it might have been rookie ass. Regardless, he'd have to be out there with him.
But
there's no way. So the dream is shot. The dream is shot. Anyway, as you were saying,
we've already become derailed.
Yes.
One of the players whose ass he could be on the tail of is that. Don't take that out of context.
Wow.
Is Joe Veleno. And Joe Veleno is a guy early in the season we were campaigning to get him on the roster because he was too good for the AHL level. But now he's played 24, 25 games here at the NHL level after the injuries to Mitchell Stevens and Jacob Vrana is still not back from injury, have kind of forced him into the NHL lineup. In those 24 games played, he's played pretty much solely fourth line minutes. He's only got 7 points in those 24 games played. And for a guy who is playing as well as he was at the AHL level, it's a little bit disappointing to see him underperforming as he has on the fourth line at the NHL level.
Yeah, I mean it is. There have, he's mostly been fourth line. He's not getting a ton of minutes, I guess, and we're not exactly surrounding him with a ton of goal scorers. But that being said, I mean, what did you say? 4 and 20? 4 and 24?
Yeah, 4-24. Yep.
Yeah, that's rough, man. No matter what way you slice it. That's a rough go at it so far. So I mean, if that it's an interesting debate, right? Because then you're basically, would you rather play the more veteran player that, I mean, we can be honest with ourselves, isn't going to be a high production level player either, but might have a little bit more production than 4 points in 24 games, a slight upgrade in production for a veteran player? Or would you rather a guy that most fans and the organization we think view as a decently rated prospect continue to get minutes in there and try to get him to figure it out? I don't know. That's a debate for sure. I think he kind of proved he's too good for the A, but at the end of the day, if you're not producing in the NHL, you got to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's a tough thing because Joe Veleno is still very young. He's only 22, I believe, and he was a first-round pick, 30th overall. He fell in his draft class, and he showed a lot of promise. And then he gets up to the NHL level this year and just hasn't done anything. And I know, again, he's not getting a lot of ice time. And, his line mates probably aren't the best. But for a guy who was as highly touted as he was and taking it in the first round, hey, another Ken Holland draft pick, by the way, just further that debate from yesterday.
Is that good or bad?
It's still out for,
we may never know. Philip Zadina?
We may never know. Philip Zadina? We may never know. But it's a little disheartening to see that a guy taken as high as he was in the draft is struggling so much on the fourth line. You'd think with all the talent he has, even on the fourth line, especially, he would be able to showcase his stuff. And I know, again, his line mates have a lot to do with it, but if you're going to make it at the NHL level, you got to do the best you can with the minutes that you're given. And he's averaging 12 minutes a night, which isn't nothing.
That's fair.
It's not great. It's not 15 plus, 20 plus like second and first liners get, but he is getting 12 minutes a night on average. And he's just 4 points in 25 games. He's got to do better, which is why, guys, you bring in a guy like Gemel Smith from Tampa Bay off waivers right as he's getting healthy, because you still have Carter Rowney out to injuries. Somebody who could probably maybe do a better job than Joe Veleno is currently doing at the NHL level, and maybe help propel. Maybe the reason Joe Veleno isn't getting better is because he doesn't feel threatened anymore. You know what I mean? Kind of like that starter and backup goaltender situation mentality that these players sometimes get, where you sometimes bring a backup in to be the heat against the starting goaltender to play better.
Light a fire a little bit for sure. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like, I have a hard time believing that too many like young players right when they crack into the NHL can get complacent that quickly. But again, it's certainly the theme of all of this with claiming Smith is it can't hurt. You know what I mean? Like we can talk about we can debate the potential upside and if it really will matter at the end of the day, but it's certainly not going to be a detriment, and it's not going to hurt anything at a minimum. So I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I kind of go back and forth on it, but maybe
it's also
I don't know. I mean, also, like maybe you bump somebody else off the roster and then keep both of them, but healthy one of them, and then kind of do like a every other game or situationally based and do it that way. But for a young player, I don't know if maybe you just want him to play every night. I don't know.
It's weird. It's really a weird situation, and I don't want to hit the panic button on Joe Veleno quite yet, because it is his rookie season. Like, he's only played 24 games in this game or in the season so far, so it's still so early to tell. But it's also weird that a guy in his rookie season, with taken as highly as he has, is only playing fourth line minutes, and that seems like a questionable thing for a guy you're trying to build up and build the confidence at. So, like, I'm not going to try and solely place the blame on Veleno himself. Why hasn't he been given better opportunities? Maybe he was. Maybe we were wrong earlier in the season thinking he was NHL ready. Maybe there was a reason why Steve Yzerman signed Carter Rowney and kept Mitchell Stevens around, because he felt Joe Veleno wasn't ready for the NHL level. And now with those two guys out, he was kind of forced in a role he wasn't quite ready yet for. So it's just maybe, and I'm not trying to hit the panic button quite yet, but maybe it just isn't the right time yet. And maybe that's why Gemel Smith was brought in, is just as he's about to start his rookie his campaign to getting back on the ice coming out of his injury. Maybe that way they can send Joe Veleno back down to continue to develop, because Gemel Smith can't go through waiver, or has to go through waivers to get sent down. Right. So if he gets called up, obviously that's the sign that it's going to be Joe Veleno sent down. So maybe them picking up Gemel Smith off waivers at all is a sign saying that Joe Veleno wasn't ready and they want to send him back down. Maybe. Just speculate.
Right. And again, it's far from a bad thing. Like, that doesn't mean really
it's not the end of the line.
Right. It doesn't mean that they've given up on him or whatever long term, but at the end of the day, if you got a young kid like that was pretty highly regarded coming up, would you rather him get 10 to 12 of very, very unproductive hockey every night, or would you rather see him play, 22 to 24 and maybe get some confidence back up and work on some things and get the productivity back up?
Yeah, and that's the debate we had earlier in the season regarding Joe Veleno too. And we talked about how it didn't seem like he had much left to gain at the AHL level, and that he needed to get minutes at the NHL level. And that was the exact same thing you said. It's like, would it be worth it for him to get fourth line minutes? And at this point, it's really not. It's not helping his development to sit there on the fourth line.
Now, not after you went out and got a 4C or a fringe 4C, even no matter where you rank him at going out and making the claim he did today,
Yeah.
it definitely gets a lot more blurry, and it's definitely a much bigger conversation.
Yeah, and regardless of the reasons and what is going to happen in the future, regardless of all the speculation we've been doing, things are going to get spicy in Detroit in those bottom two lines when all these players come back from injury. When Mitchell Stevens comes back from injury, when Carter Rowney comes off of injury, when
Jacob Verana still exists.
Maybe
he still exists. I don't really know, but
things are going to get spicy around here.
Yes.
The NHL, hard transition again. I'm on fire with these. The NHL announced today the schedule changes after the COVID pause from December. The Red Wings had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games change. So what is ending up happening, the Detroit at Philadelphia game that was supposed to happen yesterday or 2 days ago on the 18th got moved to February 9th. Philadelphia at Detroit on February 23rd got moved to February 12th. Detroit at Minnesota on December 23rd got moved to February 14th. Detroit at the Rangers got moved from December 27th to February 17th. Colorado visiting the Wings on the 20th got moved to December 20th got moved to February 23rd. The Maple Leafs game at Detroit got moved from April 26th to February 26th. The Islanders game on December 29th got moved to March 24th. And the Detroit game in Toronto that was supposed to originally be on February 26th got moved to April 26th. So those two just swapped dates. Oh, that's the whole thing. Were you mocking
all right,
my
I got it memorized now. I know the whole schedule.
Sure. Yes. Oh, I'm out of breath. So that's really just cleaning up the schedule changes because there was a lot. Basically, everything that we thought would happen happened regarding that. They just moved a lot of games into when the Olympic break was going to happen. But what ends up happening is there are 2 doubleheaders. And yes, Scotty, 2 doubleheaders at Little Caesars Arena. One is significantly worse than the other. On February 12th, Duel in the D is taking place at night. So the Wings are playing Philadelphia at noon. And then on February 26th, the Pistons play at noon and the Wings play at 7:30. February 26th one is the much, much worse one because they're going to have the court on top of the ice and then 3 hours later supposed to have it ready for an NHL level hockey game. And I've already heard rumors in the past about the ice quality at LCA with the Pistons also playing there with the way, I mean, they insulate it and they do their best. And I'm sure they've really honed it in on how to keep it nice and, hard, but not too hard, but not too soft either. That perfect middle, the Goldilocks zone of ice quality.
Sure. The Goldilocks. Yes.
But these double headers at Little Caesars Arena, I don't think they're a good idea. And I know the reason they did it on February 26th, they moved it to Detroit on February 26th, was because the Maple Leafs play on Monday, so they couldn't do Sunday, the day after the Pistons play. But also, why did they switch those games at all? They just switched the April 26th game with the February 26th game. They switched the home Maple Leafs game with the Wings Maple Leaf home game. So it wasn't a game that got postponed. It doesn't make sense to me because now the Wings are going to be playing on a worse ice and making all the employees at LCA have a tough time because of the
I feel like this is rooted.
There's a little bit of rooted,
you know what I mean?
I'm not going to get into it. But it feels like you're really hampering the Wings' ice quality by doing this doubleheader.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a situation anybody wants to be in, and I don't know, man. Like they gotta schedule 32 schedules all within each other. I don't know the schedules deep enough to know if that's if they really chose the easiest route for everything or not. The Philly situation was a disaster in itself, and they have had to reschedule almost their entire second half of their season. It's a complete bleep show, and I don't know. Nobody wants to deal with this anymore. And it'd be much easier if we could just have a schedule and that's what it is, but it's not. And I don't know, man. Like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of our schedules and all of our opponents' schedules and stuff
It's a
nearly
lot to
enough
keep track of.
to know if what they chose is actually the easiest route or not. But the doubleheader stuff, I've just never thought was a good idea. And if you can avoid it, I would try to at all costs for not only the sake of the hardworking employees at Little Caesars Arena, but also just for. I mean, I don't know. That just seems like it would suck for like everyone. Like I don't know. That just doesn't seem like a very enjoyable process, a very enjoyable 24 hours
Yeah, but
for too many people.
I'm not going to get into that whole thing. The one thing I will say is just I don't understand. You're sacrificing ice quality because of why? Because that February 26th game is just getting swapped with the April 26th game. It wasn't a game that was postponed. The rest of them I get. The rest of the games getting moved I get because it was all COVID postponements.
Sure.
But why did the Toronto game suddenly get moved to Detroit and vice versa? Was it because the Canadian government wasn't going to allow fans in the building, so they wanted to move it to a later date post-surge to hopefully have fans in the building? Because that's
Maybe.
the only conclusion I can come to. So they shuffle around the schedule just so the Maple Leafs can make a little bit more money off fans. I mean, I get it.
I mean, that's on brand for all these leagues, right?
I know it's on brand for the league, but it just is like it feels unnecessary. But I'll leave.
If it feels unnecessary, then that means the NHL is going to do it.
Yes. I get the rest of the changes. That's just that one doubleheader on the February 26th. I was scratching my head about the GL the Great Lakes Invitational taking place, or Duel in the D. I'm sorry, the Duel in the D happening on the 12th. Hey, it's going to be ice hockey either way. So I mean, ice is going to be fine overall. I'm not really too worried about that. Just that one, I'm like, you're sacrificing so much ice quality doing it that way. But yeah, do you? You do
you, baby. You do you. No, I mean, yeah. What are you gonna do?
We ball. That's all we're gonna do.
We still ball.
We're gonna ball. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every day. Now make Locked On Bets your second listen with expert insight and analysis from your boy Q and Lee Sterling. They are free and available on all platforms. Scotty, any final thoughts?
We ball.
We ball. We'll be back with a new episode for you guys tomorrow. A game preview. It's been a while since we've been able to do one of those. Same time, same place. It's your team. Every day.
Every day.